intelligence. Then he was one of the most successful gold and silver brokers privately, and helped get G. Edward Griffin going with some of his material. Worked, of course, with Gary Allen with that seminal book, I don't know, 4 or 5 million in print of None Dare Call a Conspiracy. Then at one time he had the biggest financial newsletter out there, the International Forecaster. Then he went into retirement. He's come back out of retirement to fight the globalists one more time. And it's always great to have him pop in each and every Friday with us. Your calls are coming up at the bottom of the hour. Josh, Jasper, John, and many others. The toll-free number today to talk about any issue you wish is 1-800-259-9231. All right, let me just recap this and get into the latest developments and get Bob's take on it. And then I want to move on into the banking and the $23.7 trillion that's been stolen and the latest numbers that came out earlier this week. But just recapping to make it very simple. This flu is much ado about nothing. You've had less than 20 deaths in the U.S., a couple hundred worldwide. Regular flu kills 37,000 a year on average, according to the Centers for Disease Control here in the United States. Less than 500,000 worldwide every year. Sounds like a lot, but 500,000 out of 6.5 billion isn't that many. Last number I saw for some of the tropical fevers and diseases are tens of millions a year. So the issue here is, what is all the hype? Why did one baby die who was already on a ventilator and premature in Houston, and did they shut down a bunch of schools? Why? That's why I went on air at the time and I said, I've got state officials, here's the document saying we're really at level 5, about to go to level 6, when the news said we were at level 4. People laughed at me. They didn't believe the document with the names of the doctors and the state officials on it. You could call the number and confirm it. 2 months later, it came out, real document, we were at level 6. Like I told you. Now, I said either this is a huge hoax, or they're lying about the severity of it, or they know it's designer and is going to mutate. Within days, we had epidemiologists, virologists on. They said it's not 2 parts human, 1 part pig, 1 part bird, without it being engineered. Like a breed of dog or a breed of cow, you have a lineage. You don't just, from a wolf, get a French bulldog. Or from a wolf, you don't just get a Chihuahua. That's breeding. There was no breeding line for this virus. It just came out of nowhere, whole cloth. And then top scientists, months later, were in the BBC and AP going, oh, yeah, I know this virus. We worked on it a few years ago in a laboratory for the UN at the World Health Organization. This is manufactured from the 1918 Spanish flu mixed with new flus. Exactly what we said. We had epidemiologists and virologists on that said it's very similar in its spread and attacking the lungs to the 1918 that the Pentagon had dug up 11 years ago from a whaler area where it's frozen permafrost. And they dug up an obese Inuit woman and some other people and got live virus out of their lungs. They used the Human Genome Project to then remanufacture it and splice it. So that's what these new vaccine lines are, where it doesn't take 6 months, it takes 2 weeks, because they're actually manufacturing it whole. Why then release something that doesn't kill a bunch of people but scares everybody? Because it scared regular virologists and epidemiologists, because when they saw it, they went, my God, this is fast-moving, fast-spreading, totally novel. That's the type that kill large amounts of people. And it's of the same family of flu viruses that did kill 40 million people in 1918 with the Spanish flu that also broke out on a U.S. military base, just like the 1976 last swine flu that broke out on a military base killed 1 person, so they inoculated tens of millions, killing thousands. That's Encyclopedia Britannica, mainstream history. In fact, pull up the 60 Minutes. I won't play the whole thing, but 60 Minutes on swine flu deaths. You just Google it. I want to play a few minutes of that later. But we're about to go to Bob Chapman with his take on this, because then they had to admit it was basically a hoax. And I said, look, either it's a hoax or they're serious, but you got to take them serious. They're eugenicists. They're planning a world population reduction with airborne Ebola spliced with a flu virus. That's what Eric Pianka and others have talked about. Then it came out 2 weeks ago that the White House science czar openly wrote an 1,100-page textbook called Eco Science with Bush's one of his top advisors, showing it's bipartisan. Fox News and AP have since picked it up. We scanned the book in, posted it. Others did as well. You've seen it now. Saying world government to carry out forced inoculation, sterilization of the public through the water, through vaccines. I know this sounds crazy. I'm not the one saying it. They're the ones that have been caught doing it. There's the 60 Minutes swine flu 1976. There it is. Later we'll play a minute or two, but I want to go to Bob. The issue is we hoped by exposing it, they backed off. But they're planning something. You have less than 20 deaths in the U.S., less than 200 worldwide, and they're saying it's the most deadly, level 6, forced inoculation. We're going to forcibly inject you. We need volunteers to have it tested so they can say it's safe. We need to get everybody ready for this. Then they admit that the flu vaccine itself could spread it, just like they had to stop the smallpox in 2002 because it was spreading it. Remember that and all the deaths? So that was the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act. They tried to get police and firemen to drill and be trained to forcibly inoculate. They said no. Remember, all this already happened. So the good news is we may be able to discredit it and stop it now. And I'm not saying they're going to have forced inoculations. I'm not saying they're going to get away with it. They're saying they're going to do this. They're thinking they can hype it and scare people to take the vaccine. This is a group of eugenicists that have been caught adding cancer viruses, sterilization compounds all over the world on record in official UN, World Bank, IMF documents, State Department Memorandum 200 and others. Why would you trust them to take anything? And the virus has only killed less than 20 people in the U.S. They say 19. So what is going on here? When it headline ABC News in Austin, volunteers needed to test H1N1 vaccine. The government is calling on thousands of volunteers to test the H1N1 flu vaccine. The testing will take place at 8 medical centers in the United States, including Baylor Vaccine Research Center in Houston. The test will help students determine which formula works best at what dosage. No one has it. They say 1 million people have been infected with it, but that's like everybody's infected with viruses every day that do nothing. I mean, it's a shot for something that doesn't even kill you or make you sick, and they admit it's already mutated a bunch, so it's not even the right vaccine. Then, U.S. buys 195 million doses of swine flu vaccine. Government hopes to speed development for fall vaccination program. MSNBC. Then I got another one out of Oklahoma newspaper, the Daily Oklahoman, saying they're going to forcibly inject 12,000 public school kids, telling them they have to take it. And Obama says it's 3 shots, 3 different ones. Folks, okay, Bob Chapman's been holding while I was ranting. Bob, this is really starting to take shape in a scary way. What do you see with your background in Army intelligence, counterintelligence? What do you see here, or in your economic background? Baxter Pharmaceutical secretly mixing live bird flu, according to London Telegraph. A bunch of people die that take other bird flu vaccine trials. In fact, put that on screen, folks. What is going on here, Bob?
Well, first of all, the flu in 1918 was injected into servicemen who spread it not only in the United States and Europe, and then it became pandemic throughout the world. I don't know what their intentions were at the time. My grandfather died from it, and my father came a whisper away from dying. So the swine flu of 1918, known as the Spanish flu, had it been that effective on my 6-year-old dad, I wouldn't be here today. This is another experiment, but this time it's bigger. Number one, they're going to make a pile of money for the pharmaceutical companies, the major shareholders of which are foundations and the Illuminati. They want crowd control. They want to be able to herd people around and make them do what they want to do. And you talked about firemen and policemen refusing to do inoculations and things like that because obviously somebody told them where this was all leading to. I think what they're going to do is I think they're going to use the shots to spread the flu. That's what I think, and as you have pointed out so many times, they want to reduce population. Whether it's adults or children, they don't care. They just want to get them out of the way. And so I think those are the salient factors. If you probably noticed, there is a journalist in Austria who filed a suit against Baxter, and then she filed some other suits against the UN and the World Bank and everybody else who's involved in this thing. And Alex, it's a giant scam, but it's going to kill a lot of people because they're going to be the killer. the government.
Well, we forget history, and your grandfather was killed, your dad almost killed. It's on record that they had an inoculation program at 1, and then it came out later, 8 different military bases. The troops all dropped dead. They spread it. It was a bioweapon. Same thing in 76. It broke out at military bases. Then it was the vaccine after. I got 60 Minutes right here. I just put it on screen for people at prisonplanet.tv that killed people. And then take Gardasil.
It's a biological MK Ultra.
Well, it is. It's a psyop. But you know what's amazing here to me, Bob, is that the Gardasil, 3 years ago, they had the trials, killed masses of young women that took the human papillomavirus shot. The insert for the vaccine, live cancer virus vaccine, admits it doesn't even protect you from it.